So as a bonus video, because I roasted some bones for bone broth, which we showed in a separate video, I now have some oil left over that cooked off of the bones. Most people are familiar with tallow because it's used in cooking, but they don't know what it is. Tallow is simply rendered beef fat. It's, in my opinion, better than vegetable oil, and, well, it's all natural because I made it myself. I know exactly what's in this. There's no hydrogenation, there's no crack. It is 100% natural beef fat. And since, well, I eat a lot of burgers and steaks, this seems like a reasonable way to cook those in the fat that they come from. Does that make sense? So anyways, I'm going to use this fat that burned off, or cooked off rather, the bones that I'm making beef broth in, beef bone broth in. The difference between tallow and just fat, or grease if you will, is the clarification process. All you do to make tallow is get bits of beef fat and render the fat. Rendering is just making it liquid. That's already happened. Once you've turned it into liquid, you filter it. You run it through any kind of filter. Cheesecloth is fairly common. I actually like coffee filters for tallow. They work rather well. Tallow and lard, which lard comes from pig. It's the same thing. It's the fat from a pig. I tend to use bacon fat that way. So the bacon grease that's left over from your bacon when you're done, yeah. I'm gonna capture that and I'm gonna turn that into lard, and then I'm gonna cook eggs with it later. It's fabulous. At any rate, so here's my pan. You can see there's a nice layer of, you'll call it grease. Here in a few minutes, I'll call it tallow, and it'll look just like this. It'll be fabulous. But here we go. How am I gonna do this without making an absolute mess? Well, that should actually work.
Until it folds.
Until it folds, well, that's why I have the filter this way. Well, look at that. Now if I can just keep the filter up. Just pour it right on off. And just keep pouring until it stops. Oh, gonna make a mess. Darn it. It's always something. Biffy. This is the super complicated process of tallow from something you already cooked. But that's, I mean, I could probably capture more of it if I wanted to stand here. I don't want to do that.
I think it's really neat how clear this obviously is.
And that's from running it through a filter. So.
And how many times are you going to run? Do you run something through the filter? Is it just the one time?
Generally speaking, I only have to run it through once. Sometimes the filter process can be a bit of a pain. The filter will rip, it will clog, any number of things can happen to slow it down. And that can delay me, but realistically, provided I don't have any weird setbacks, it should only take one filtering to turn it this clear. So you just kind of let it go. It will drip its way through. One of the challenges with clarifying tallow is that tallow at room temperature is a solid, as you can see. This was stored in my cabinet. It's one of the nice things about it. It's very, very stable at room temperature. I mean, eventually, like any food, it will go rancid, but not in the time frame that I'll have it in the cabinet. This one I stored in the fridge, obviously harder when it's in the fridge, and it will last indefinitely. This one I use for everyday use, so it actually lives on the counter. But again, you can see it's very solid. The problem or the challenge that presents is this. As you can tell, this is cooling. Up here, liquid. Down here, semi-solid. As it's sitting here, it is cooling, and eventually it will cool so much that it will stop going through the filter, and that's a challenge. So I will have to play with this for a little while to get it to drain all the way through and filter itself out and so forth. So, I don't know if you can tell, but when I first poured it off, it was very, very clear. And you can now see that it has begun to become milky. Well, it's milky when it's solid. So it's becoming milky because it's cooling, because it went from 400 degrees, which it was, to, well, slowly achieving room temperature. Here we are. So I'm going to have to be a little more creative with this and solve the problem in other ways. Because I was pouring the oil straight from the cookie sheet into the jar, I put a funnel here. It's a canning funnel. It has a wider mouth, and that made it more accurate to pour into the jar instead of trying to get the little hole from that. The problem with that is the funnel is cool, and that cool has cooled the oil. You can actually see the oil is almost solid now. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab a Pyrex measuring cup. I'm going to pour this oil into that cup. Then I'm going to boil the water and put the Pyrex cup in the boiling water. That will remelt, reliquefy this tallow, and then it will be able to run through the filter. Oh wow, yeah, that's...
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That is 100%. Yeah, that's cooked. There's
Yeah,
going...
it's just...
We're not going anywhere with that, so... I don't even... Yeah, no, I'm going to leave it in the filter.
Oh, some of it's coming out.
Yeah, I wish it hadn't, actually. It's going to be messier, but there you go. So here's the way you handle that. Put a little bit of water in your pan. You put your Pyrex in your water. Then you double boil it. And that will melt. It will heat the oil, and it will melt it, and then I'll pull the filter out when it's all good and melted. So you can see, bring it up here, it is liquefying down in the bottom. So shortly it will fully liquefy, and when that happens, then I'll be able to pour it in the bottle.
Danger, danger.
Spitting a little bit, having a bit of fun. Yeah, it's all good.
Well, you know, Pyrex can go through just about anything.
Right? It was forged in hell.
Was it?
Must be, because it can survive it. So it's slowly reliquefying on the filter, so I'm just kind of rotating the filter around to get all of it off of there and into the measuring cup, so they can then pour it off onto, or into rather, the jar. And I'll show you that, how I've rigged that up here in just a second. Hot.
How about a spoon?
Yeah, you would want to do it the easy way, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
There we
To
go.
me, don't use any tools or anything to help out.
Nah,
Wouldn't want to do that.
tools are for the weak.
You know what you should do? Reinvent the wheel.
There's an idea. Okay.
Boy, that's really, really boiling, isn't it?
Yes.
We're rolling.
Okay, so it is now fully liquefied. We've got, what is this? Just shy of a half a cup here. So, and that doesn't include what's here. So, probably half a cup, maybe 3/4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hook the filter right into the bottle. And by doing that, then I can pour straight into the bottle, and then I don't have to move it from this to that to the other thing. So, just chuck it right on down in there. And then I like to straighten it out. Some might say that's a little OCD, but I think it makes it work better. You could actually get those conical filters if you wanted to do this. Or again, you can use cheesecloth. If you're going to use a standard coffee filter, it works better in a conical shape. So to get it conical, fold it in half. half again. Open up one of the pockets and look at that. You have a filtering cone. You tuck it down in there. You can do this a couple of different ways. You don't want to just leave it like this. If you do, it will fall into your clarified tallow and then it will clarify right. So I just fold it over the top. You can fold it over the top and leave it, or what I like to do, you can fold it over the top and then use the ring to secure it. Now it won't fall in. The Pyrex has been sitting in hot water over the hot stove, so I'm going to put a glove on.
Good job.
Because, you know, I do a lot of things, but I don't like to burn myself. So then I just carry it right on over. And pour it in, and this time it shouldn't solidify nearly as fast. Oh, look at that, it's pouring through right fast. It's just one long stream of oil dripping right on down there.
Yeah, you can see it in the hole
Yeah.
in the existing tallow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it just melts right through it there. That's kind of fun. But it's melting through, it's filtering nicely. And you just keep... I put a paper towel underneath it because no matter how well you pour, that tallow is going to run down the face of the measuring cup.
That certainly did go through a lot faster.
Yeah, and it's
Not burning your finger?
not significantly. It's got great beefy flavor though.
That is still just streaming on through.
Yeah. This is the better way to filter tallow. It's pretty much drained as much as it's gonna. I mean, it's still dripping, but like I said, you're never gonna get all of it. And I'm too impatient to try. So what I'll do next is I will just take what's left of this, pour it in this. This little container, you can see has a little bit of tallow in it that's not been clarified. It's the remainder literally like this. And I'm just gonna pour it in there. Jera's chickens will enjoy it someday when she figures out how to make them a suet. And I go ahead and let them have all the bits because they don't mind the bits. They're birds.
You're actually supposed to, you actually can just give them all that because they eat meat.
They are omnivorous.
Yeah.
They'll eat anything.
Yes, they will. They are little piggies.
They are not picky.
Okay, yep.
Little chicken tallow. I mean, it's not tallow from chickens because chickens don't make tallow.
No, it's not. Hey.
It's tallow for the chickens.
It's not.
Somewhat of a different concept.
You know what? I'm starting to get mad. I'm going to blow my top.
There you go.
There it is.
Oh, a little bit of something dripped through on that. You can see dark spots in there. But it's liquid, so I think it's a little bit of water that didn't cook off. And it wound up in the oil.
Interesting.
Not the end of the world, it happens. It will solidify over time and just become like the other examples of tallow.
Oh, yeah.
We just keep eating that stuff. I can't spit out, it's like crack. Nom, nom,
Yeah.
nom, nom.
It's really good with the jerky. Another video to make.
So I'm just going to pour a little of this off into this jar because, well, no sense in having two partially full jars. I should have as many completely full jars as I can get.
Oh my goodness, that is really full.
Nicely though, it will get solid, and you won't even know. I will pour this off into this.
Are you worried about what you thought was water on the bottom?
Nope, what I'm gonna do, I still think it's water. I'm gonna pour this off in such a way that not all of it goes in, and then that last little bit, I'll pour into the chicken's bit. Yeah, you can see there's just a little bit of,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to eat it if I don't have to. And I can feed it to the chickens, what are they gonna say?
Thank you.
Pretty much, they're not picky.
Put them on.
Random.
Wish I could play that game.
Still looking for it online. Of course, now I can't have any beef jerky with tallow. Rude.
It's like 11 o'clock at night.
It's 10:54.
Well, yeah, okay. All right, say bye-bye, Michael.
Good. That's actually surprisingly hard to say.
Beef bone broth.
Beef
Yeah.
bone broth. Anyways, it's very, very simple. The difference between fallow, take two. The difference between Take three.
Let me take. I'm gonna cut that out of the video.
Whatever. There you have it. Now, over time, this will solidify.
I'm just gonna have one long blooper video.
So I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Solidify.
Sure did.
Boy, howdy. Buggered that one up, didn't ya? So anyways, yep.